Welcome back to Theory Hammer, my friends, where today we're taking a look at the Chaos Codex. This is a big, fat, thick boy with 3 C's. Alright, so we're going to take a look at it today. We're going to try something a little different here, just like I did with the Orc Codex. I'm going to be doing this in 2 parts. So part 1 is going to be all of the detachments. Part 2 is going to be all of the data sheets. So make sure you thunderhammer the like button, thunderhammer the subscribe button, hit all the buttons with all of the hammers, check out our other videos, leave comments, all that stuff. That way you don't miss part 2. So let's go right into it, shall we? Chaos Space Marines, the forces of the Heretic Astartes. You have an army rule. It's Dark Packs. So if your army faction's Heretic Astartes, each time a unit with this ability is selected to shoot or fight, it can make a Dark Pact, and if it does, it takes a leadership test before any effects of the Dark Pact are resolved. If it's failed, you suffer D3 mortal wounds. Then you select one of the following abilities for that unit's weapons to gain until the end of the turn, or end of the phase. So it's very similar to what we had in the index. The only difference here is that you take the test beforehand instead of after. So that's what you get for your Dark Packs. You still have the Cults of the Gods, which says if your army faction is so-and-so, you can include any of the following units in your army, and when you do so, their faction keywords are replaced with Heretic Astartes. So you get Khorne Berserkers, Rubric Marines, Plague Marines, Noise Marines, and the combined points value of such units you can include in your army depends on the battle size as follows. So for us, it's going to be 500 points. So that's what you get for your army rule. It's actually very, very strong. You just get to pick and choose either lethal hits or sustained hits. Yeah, I wish I had that in like any army. So very, very good. The Dark Pack thing doing damage to you now beforehand, that is a change. So the first detachment we have here is the Veterans of the Long War. That is a phrase we've heard forever, and now it's its own detachment. Its rule is the Focus of Hatred. At the start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army to be your Focus of Hatred. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a Heretic Astartes model from your army, excluding damned models, make an attack that targets your Focus of Hatred, you can reroll the hit roll. It's Oath of the Moment. It's the same exact thing. So you get Oath of the Moment. This is pretty much your, Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines have always kind of been the same thing, with like different small things here and there. They had the same weapons, same profiles. They usually had higher leadership. But so this is kind of supposed to be your all-comers. This is what the Marines, or the Chaos Space Marines get. You get Oath of the Moment like Space Marines, basically. So the difference here is that obviously this is not your army rule. Oath of the Moment is the Marines army rule. This is your detachment rule. All right, so let's go over your enhancements. We got the Warp Master's Gift. Chaos Lord only each time the bearer makes an attack that targets your Focus of Hatred. An unmodified successful wound roll of 5 up scores a critical wound. All right, so exploding 5s for your War Master. Did I say Warp Master? War Master's Gift. 15 points. Great. Okay. So let's see. So your Thunder Hammer on your Chaos Lord with the Mortal Wound Hammer, the awesome stuff that he can do there. Cool. He's getting a lot of extra attacks if you're going with Sustained, which you probably are because he's going to be with a unit of Legionnaires for reroll wounds, and he's going to come in there with like 8 hits, 10 hits, and just kill stuff. So that's cool. Eager for Vengeance. 20 points. Eager for Vengeance. Anything, Heretic Astartes only, just not damned, while the bearer's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in turn in which it fell back. And while doing so, each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets your Focus of Hatred, you add 1 to the hit roll. Each time you select your Focus of Hatred as the target of that unit's charge, add 1 to the charge roll. So, +1 to hit, +1 to charge if you target your marked unit, basically. 20 points, huh? You can control this pretty easily. You get to pick what unit you do at the beginning of your command phase. So you pick which unit you can get to, which one you can kill. You can get +1 to hit against it. I'm trying to think of something that's going to be great with, I mean. Probably some combat-oriented thing, I would think, because it's +1 to charge and +1 to hit. So, and they get fallback and charge, so it's probably better on some sort of combat unit. Eye of Abaddon. This is 15 points. Heretic Astartes model only. While the bearer is on the battlefield, each time your Focus of Hatred is destroyed, you roll a d6, on a 4-up, you gain 1 CP. So, okay. We have 5 turns in the game. You're not going to get this on turn 1. So you might get 2 CP for this if you can kill your Focus of Hatred every turn, which you should be able to because you can control that. So Yeah. 15 points for Eye of Abaddon. Alright. Mark of Legend, Heretic Astartes only, so just not damned. Once per turn, you can reroll 1 hit roll, one wound roll, and 1 saving throw for the bear. Okay, so Mark of the Stuff is going to be 10 points. Yeah, that's fine for 10 points because it only affects the bearer. Yeah, the bearer itself. So it has to be on the, by itself. However, on a Demon Prince, that could be interesting. Reroll a hit, wound, or saving throw once per turn. Pretty good for 10 points on a Demon Prince. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's get to the stratagems. Endless Ire. This is 2 CP. It's an epic deed. It happens in any phase just after your focus of hatred is destroyed. You target a Heretic Astartes character unit from your army. Interesting. Okay, so you select one enemy unit within 12 inches. Okay. Invisible to your unit until the start of your next command phase. That unit is considered to be your focus of hatred. So if you can get somebody like Abaddon or something on the field that's going to be generating you extra CP, this might be useful because then you can pick 2 units to get full rerolls against, which is pretty good. Contemptuous Disregard is a battle tactics for 1. This happens in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit selects its targets. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, not damned. That was selected as the target of the attacks, and then until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets a unit, worsen the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Okay, so we have Armor of Contempt. Great. 1 CP, battle tactics, full on, same deal. Cool. Alright, so Chaos officially have Armor of Contempt, and it is the same amount of CP. Bringers of Despair is 2 CP, so you got 2 of them that are 2 CP, interestingly. But this is a start of the fight phase stratagem, epic deed, so not free. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that is within engagement range of the focus of hatred. You get fights first. Okay. Yeah, great. For 2 CP though, yeah, is it great? I'm not so sure. Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough. That one I'm not so sure about. Black Crusade, so the reason that I'm not so sure about this is because this, you're probably going to kill your focus of hatred unit anyway. You don't need fight first if you're charging it, because you get fights firsts. So this is, I guess, supposed to happen in your opponent's turn, but that means that you chose a unit that wants to get in combat with you as your focus of hatred, didn't kill it on their turn. It kind of feels awkward to me. Okay, so that's what we got with that one, though. Black Crusade's next. It's strategic ploy for 1. It's in your movement phase. You target an Astartes unit, so Heretic Astartes unit or mounted unit, so either infantry or bikers. Can't do this on vehicles, and I guess that's pretty much it. You don't really have monsters except for, like, Bashdor. The effect. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot in the turn in which it advanced or fell back, and bolt pistols, bolt guns, combi bolters equipped by models in your unit have devastating wounds, while your unit has not already inflicted 6 mortal wounds using this ability. Okay, so I just my brain froze. Until the end of the turn, okay. Models in your unit have the devastating wounds ability while your unit has not already inflicted 6 wounds this turn using that ability. Okay, so if you already have devastating wounds, weird. So you'd want to roll your bolters first. They proc your devastating wounds up to 6, and then if you have any other devastating wound weapons, you want to shoot them second. That way you can get past 6, so, right? Using that ability being devastating wounds. Okay, kind of a weird one there, but getting dev wounds on all your bolters and stuff, and being able to shoot, this gives you so many things. You can shoot in the turn in which you advanced or fell back, and your bolt pistols, bolt guns, all your stuff gains devastating wounds. Pretty good. Pretty good. Let the Galaxy Burn for 1 CP. I like it. Let the Galaxy Burn. I'd rather not, but let's do it anyway. It's battle tactics for 1. It's in your shooting phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding Tzeentch, interestingly, that have not been selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have ignores cover, and change the attack characteristic of torrent weapons equipped by models in your unit to 6. Okay, that makes sense, because the Flamers would be 60 shots. So, yeah, okay. Pretty good. Pretty cool. So then you have Millennia Experience. 1 CP, Strategic Ploy. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends in a normal advance or fallback move. Heretic Astartes infantry are mounted only. That's within 9 inches of the enemy unit and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. You can make a normal move up to 6. So reactive move, pretty good. This is basically an all-comers thing. You have fallback and advance and shoot. You have a reactive move. You have Armor of Contempt. You have Fights First. You can get double Focus of Hatred, which is basically a Space Marine thing anyway. My book just fell apart. I don't know what that is, but it came out. So that's pretty cool. This is an interesting detachment. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is just fine. This is kind of useless, I feel like, unless you're playing for it. So really all you need to worry about is reactive move, Armor of Contempt, maybe Fights First sometimes, but probably these guys here, these 4. Do extra mortal wounds, which also will be niche, so probably these 3. Getting your +1 to hit and +1 to charge on your Focus of Hatred seems okay. This War Master's Gift is really funny on a Chaos Lord. The Eye of Abaddon, okay. But this is cool. The Mark of Legend is good on a Demon Prince for sure. So that is going to be your Veterans of the Long War. Let's get on to the next one, which is your Deceptors. Are these like the Alpha Legion or something? The Night Lords? I'm not sure. They have Masters of Misdirection. In the Declare Battle formation step, you can select a number of Legionnaires and Cultist mob units from your army until the end of the battle. Those units and any characters attached to them have the Infiltrator's ability. The maximum number of units you can select depends on the battle size. So in a strike force, you can pick up to 3 units of Legionnaires and up to 3 units of Cultists. Right. So that's hilarious. Infiltrate. So you can infiltrate 3 big blobs of Marines with characters, so they can have like a Chaos Lord attached with a Thunderhammer, coming in there, rerolling wounds. That seems pretty good to hit your opponent like real fast. The Chaos Cultists, that's also hilarious. You can just put a Cultist squad like just in the way. The other 2 units, I don't know, maybe you take them. But yeah, you can just completely wall off your opponent. There's very few things in the game that have infiltrators that are like 20 model units that I can think of anyway. So that is hilarious because you can literally just be like, the game starts with you not being able to take a turn 1 because if I go first, you're literally not moving out of your deployment zone on turn 1. And then if you go first, you're just stuck like 9 inches away from an entire unit of guys. Crazy. Right, so these are your enhancements. The first one is Falsehood for 10 points. Chaos Lord model only, excluding Terminator and Jump Pack, so literally just a Chaos Lord. In the Declare Battle Formation step, you can set up the bearer in reserve instead of setting it up on the battlefield. If you do, in the Reinforcement step of your movement phases. In the Reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can select one model in the friendly Legionnaires or chosen unit that is on the battlefield. The selected model is destroyed, and nothing triggers. And the bearer is set up as close as possible to where that model was destroyed and only within engagement range of any enemy units. Okay, so he basically takes place of the guy in the unit. If you're in combat, he can be placed in combat. Otherwise, you can't, and you just kill a guy in the unit. A lot of words there, but basically that's what it does. For 10 points, yeah, I think that's pretty funny, actually. So this can happen. Interesting. You can attach 2 Chaos Lords to the same unit here. That's hilarious. What? So you can... Okay, yeah, so you can attach 2 Chaos Lords to the same squad because it doesn't say anything. You can't choose an attached unit, so you can't choose a character to be the one that dies, but any other model in the unit just dies, and this guy just becomes a leader. That is hilarious. I like it. Cursed Fang, 10 points as well. Heretic Astartes infantry model only. Improve the armor penetration characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons by 1, and the bearer's melee weapons have the stealth precision. Demon Prince, right? No, it's infantry only. Okay, so no Demon Prince. Good on a Chaos Lord. I'm not gonna lie. His hammer, he put him with some Legionnaires, move him up, get rerolls to wound. He comes in there with damage 3, dev wound, AP 3, strength 9, with like 6 attacks, maybe 7, I don't forget, but sustained hits on, getting an extra hit with that, and yeah. He's going to now be AP 4 and have precision, so he will probably kill your character. I kind of like this. But I'm seeing a problem, which is that everything wants to be on a Chaos Lord. So, Heretic Astartes infantry only for the next one, which is a Shroud of Obscuration. Obfuscation? Yeah, obfuscation. I said it wrong the first time. Shroud of Obfuscation is 15 points. So you get lone operatives and stealth. Infantry only. Not sure. Not sure what that goes on. Soul Link is your last one, and the Soul Link is 5 points. Heretic Astartes infantry only. At the start of your command phase, you can select one other Heretic Astartes infantry character model from your army, excluding epic heroes. Until the start of your next command phase, the bearer's unit gains the Psyker keyword, and replace the bearer's datasheet abilities with the datasheet ability of the character you selected. Whoa. Okay. At the start of your command phase, you can select one other Heretic Astartes character model from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, the bearer gains the Psyker keyword and replaces the bearer's datasheet abilities with the datasheet abilities of the character you selected. So, Chaos Lord. So you want this on a Jump Lord, stealing a Chaos Lord's +1 to everything. +1 to all of his stuff for his weapons. Interesting. Okay. Or something along those lines. He can steal Demon Prince abilities, which I think like Impact Mortal Wounds is a thing for Demon Princes. That's interesting. I wonder if it works on like one-time use abilities. So like if you use something on your Chaos Lord that says you can only use it once per battle, if you then get it and you've already used it once per battle, you can't use it again, can you? I don't know. Probably can. I'm just not sure. All right, so that is all that. Then we have our stratagems. Detonator's the first one. War gear for 1 CP. It's in any phase just after an enemy model with deadly demise is destroyed. You target a Heretic Astartes character unit from your army that was within 18 inches of the enemy model that was destroyed. Your opponent does not roll to determine whether mortal wounds are inflicted by their model's deadly demise. Instead, mortal wounds are automatically inflicted. That is hilarious. Can you target a Titanic? Non-Titanic. Okay, yeah. If that ability inflicts a random number of mortal wounds, your opponent rolls to determine that number as normal. Okay. So, put this on something that's D6 with exploding, like a Land Raider or something. Repulsor, Land Raider. Yeah, that's hilarious. A Riptide. I think Riptides. I'm pretty sure that they are D6. From all sides is your next one. Battle Tactics for 1. Start of your charge phase, you target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army. To the end of the phase, you add one of your charge rolls made for your unit. For each other Heretic Astartes unit from your army that made a charge move this phase. Doesn't have to be on a specific enemy unit. It's just I charge here, I charge here, I charge there. I then get +3 my charge here where I deep struck with my Warp Talons, my 10 Warp Talons that really wanted to get in there and kill you so they can jump back up. That is what that's from. That's what that's for. I'm looking at that. Pick 'em off is next. Battle Tactics for 1. It's in your shooting phase. Heretic Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit below half strength, you can reroll the hit. If the target is below starting strength, reroll hit. Below half strength, reroll wound. Pick 'em off. Great. Fine. It's not great. It's good. Coils of Deception. That's going to be a strategic ploy for 1. It's in your movement phase. Just after a Heretic Astartes unit from your army falls back, you target that unit until the end of the turn. Your unit is eligible to shoot and in a turn which it fell back. Yeah. Cool, so fallback and shoot is never bad to have. Relentless Pursuit, 1 CP, strategic ploy. It's in your opponent's movement phase. Just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move, you target a Heretic Astartes infantry or mounted unit from your army within 9 of that unit and not within engagement range. It can make a normal move up to 6, so another reactive move here, which is awesome. I love reactive moves. They are annoying, and I always forget about them, and they're very hard to play around because you kind of have to go to certain directions in order to win this game. So I like it. Great stuff. This gets you behind walls and stuff. This hides you. This gets you in the way if you want to move up. This gets you onto objectives for your turn so that you can gain more points. This is just, there's so much you can do with a thing like this. Movement phase is where the game's won. And this gives you movement phase in your opponent's turn. So I like it. Scrambled Coordinates, 1 CP, strategic ploy, start of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. That's a weird time for this to trigger, huh? You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, and until the end of the phase, enemy units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of your unit. Okay, hang on. Let me just think about that for a second. Start of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army. Can be anything. That's really good. That's great. Doesn't really help you too much with rapid ingress, but with non-rapid ingress, yeah, that could just completely bubble out an area where your opponent thought that they were safe. So that's pretty good. I like that a lot. All right, let's move on. So what do I think of Deceptors? I actually really like them. They're very, very cool. Being able to infiltrate up a bunch of units. So I'll infiltrate up 3 squads of Legionnaires. I'll put a captain with one of them, with all of them actually. Well, except for one, right? Because you want to put 2 of them in one, so whatever. You put them up there, you have a big unit of cultists that just got in your opponent's way and just said you can't play the game on turns 1. And then I get a free turn because of that. So that's really cool. These are really cool. Like, just this kind of reminds me of like the Raven Guard detachment for Marines. It's kind of just meant to be like sneaky and, you know, get lone operative here, precision with the stuff, gaining other people's abilities. So you can kind of, there's a lot of different options that it gives you access to. Instead of just being like you get a certain ability, it's like pick which ability you want. Stuff like that's really good. Auto exploding their stuff is annoying. It's just cool. +3 charge, yeah, like I like this. This has got some cool play in it for sure. I can definitely see at least one. You probably max this out because you can, right? So you probably take 3 and 3. I'm not sure how many points that is off the top of my head, but then you definitely take Warp Talons for the +3 charge. You have this for a reactive move as well. That's awesome for them. There's a lot of really good stuff you got here. So, cool. Renegade Raiders. These guys are pretty cool. I read them a little bit. They have Raiders and Reavers as their detachment rule. Ranged weapons equipped by Heretic Astartes models from your army have the Assault ability, and each time a Heretic Astartes model from your army makes an attack that targets a unit within range of an objective marker, improve the armor penetration of that armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. So, in case you guys didn't know, you got to be on objectives to win the game. So, yeah, this is really good. Getting +1 AP in this edition, I think this is probably your strongest detachment. I actually haven't read them all, but I think this is probably your strongest detachment unless I see something just completely fucking outrageous, because +1 AP targeting anything that's on an objective is ridiculous. If I'm on it, like, okay, so your opponent is going to be like, I'm going to only put stupid, shitty things on objectives. And you're going to be like, great, they just die. That gives you some extra shooting because it's going to take less to kill the thing that's on the objective than it would have. And so you have like other things that you would have needed to commit over there that you no longer need to, and so they can go somewhere else. The other problem here is that once those little Ghibli units die, or if I am on an objective, let's say, and you like charge me, and you kill me, you're now on the objective in my turn, so I'm going to shoot you, be +1 AP, and your whole army gains Assault on its ranged weapons, and this +1 AP thing is for everything. It's not just shooting, it's combat too. So now your Warp Talons are AP3 with Twin Linked. All your Predators, which are shooting, are like AP3 against infantry, or like non-monsters and vehicles. That seems pretty good for 130 points. There's just a lot, like having +1 AP on all of your everything, when you target the things that are winning your opponent the game, like that's just crazy. We'll go through it and we'll see how crazy it is, I think. Because even if you don't have this, you still have lethals or sustain from dark packs, and you have this stuff here. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, Despot's Claim, 15 points. This goes on any Heretic Astartes model. At the start of your command phase, if the bear is on the battlefield, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if the bear is wholly within 12 inches of your opponent's deployment zone. On a 5+, you gain 1 CP. No. Dread Reaver. Heretic Astartes model only. Each time the bear makes a melee attack, if the bear is wholly within 12 inches of your opponent's deployment zone, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Yes. For 15 points, hell yes. The reason yes is because Demon Princes really like having reroll hits and wounds on their weapon. Especially Khorne Demon Princes, because I believe they have Devastating Wound. Maybe not. But either way, that's really good on like a thing like that that has a lot of attacks. Obviously, it's good on like a Chaos Lord, but Chaos Lord can already kind of get reroll wounds from the unit that they're attached to. So then we have the Mark of the Hound for 25 points. Anything, Adeptus Heretic Astartes model only. The bear's unit have Scout 6 inches, so that's really good. That can give Scout 6 inches to a whole lot of things. Legionaries. That can give Scouts to Possessed. That can give Scouts to a Cursed Cultist. So they already have Scout, but if you're attaching the character to them, I think the characters don't have Scouts. So, yeah, this is awesome. Having Scout 6 inches, I love Scouting. I like Infiltrators more, but Scouting is awesome. For 25 points, though, it is rather expensive, but hey, still great. Tyrant's Lash is your last one here. The Tyrant's Lash is 20 points. It's Heretic Astartes only, so anything. It's not infantry. None of these are infantry only. You can reroll the advanced rolls made for the bearer's unit, and the bearer's unit is eligible to shoot in a turn which it fell back. Okay, so reroll advanced rolls made for the bearer's unit, and you can, okay. Tyrant's Lash, I'm not sure about. It is 20 points. It doesn't seem worth it for 20 points, but yeah, that's what you get there. Okay. Unfailing Obdurate. Unfailing Obdurate. We got there. Battle Tactics 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit selects its targets. Heretic Astartes unit that was selected as the target of the attacks. Worsen the armor penetration of their attack by 1. It's Armor of Contempt. I'm not sure if that was the same name as from the other detachment, but that's what it is. It's Armor of Contempt. So awesome. Scour and Seize. Battle Tactic as well in the fight phase for 1. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase, and until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit within range of an objective marker, that attack has precision. I don't think you need it, right? Cool that you have it, don't think you need it. Opportunistic Raiders 1 CP is your next one. Strategic Ploy. It's at the end of the fight phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was eligible to shoot, or I'm sorry, eligible to fight. If your unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches, or up to 12 inches if it's mounted. Otherwise, your unit can make a fallback move. It cannot embark within a transport at the end of this move if it disembarks from a transport that turn. Does that imply that it's allowed to get back in the transport if it didn't? Because you're not in the movement phase, right? But like it's a movement, so it only happens in the movement phase that you can embark, but it's not actually the movement phase. I don't know how those work anymore. So that's pretty cool. This is great for Warp Talons. Warp Talons get in there, they don't kill what they want to kill, they fall back, they jump up. Also just really good. If your unit is not within engagement range, it just moves, like it just goes wherever it wants. But if it is in combat, it can fall back, and then for them it's great. Warp Charged Engines 1 CP War Gear Strat. It's in your movement phase. You target a Heretic Astartes transport or Heretic Astartes mounted unit from your army. Interesting, that's transport. That has not been selected to move this phase. Until the end of the phase, your unit, if it advances, do not make an advance roll, just move 6 instead. Okay, so auto advance 6 with Warp Charged Engines. Heretic Astartes or mounted only. Okay. I am not sure what that's great on. I mean, it's bikes, obviously, but is there anything else that's mounted in your army? Warp Charged Engines. All right, Ruinous Raid, 1 CP, Battle Tactics. It's in your shooting phase or your fight phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that disembarks from a transport and has not been selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, if the target of that attack is within range of an objective marker, you can re-roll the hit roll and you can re-roll the wound roll. Wow. Okay. And then you have Reaver's Haste. So that's the first one that kind of had the same restriction as this. Like, this needs to happen. If they're on an objective, you get reroll wounds and hits. That's pretty good. And then you have Reaver's Hate. This is in your charge phase. You target a Heretic Astartes infantry or mounted unit until the end of the phase. They're eligible to declare charge in a turn in which it advanced. Okay. If you select 1 or more units within range of an objective marker as a target of that charge, add 1 to the charge roll. Okay. So not only is this just awesome because it's advance and charge, it also adds +1 to the charge roll if the target's on an objective. So there's some incentive for the objective here. That's pretty cool. This one, it has to be on an objective. Like, it doesn't, you don't have to, but it doesn't have any effect. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, if the target of that attack is within range of an objective marker. So you can use this, but it doesn't do anything unless you're on there. Auto advance 6, fine. But this is great. The Opportunistic Raiders is great for being able to move after you killed something that turn, or being able to fall back. And then the Unfailingly Obdurate, whatever. Unfailing is Armor of Contempt, so that's pretty great as well. So you've got some good strats here, just in general. Heretic Astartes for this guy, you get reroll hits and wounds on a Demon Prince or something else, just like some other character of some kind. Getting Scout 6 inches, always going to be useful. You can always find something really good to put that on. So those two are definitely great as well. And then just this being your detachment rule, just getting Assault, it's great. It makes your army so much faster if it's a shooting army. And it also, you get +1 AP when you're shooting something on an objective or attacking something on an objective in combat. Like, what? That's very, very strong. This is very, very strong. We'll see if it's the best one. Let's go on to the next one, because I actually haven't read them, like I said. All right, we got a little bit more light going on now. So, Dread Talons. This is your detachment rule. It's Terror Descends. It's an aura. In the battle shock, all right, don't care. Next. I'm just kidding. In the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit is below its starting strength and within 12 inches of one or more Heretic Astartes units from your army, take a battle shock test. Each time an enemy unit within 12 inches of one or more Heretic Astartes units from your army takes a battle shock test, subtract 1 from the result. You only have to take 1. So, yeah. Basically, it's a battle shock ability. And it's actually not terrible. Yeah, it's fine. Go to the 40k Dirtbags channel, check out the game that Derek and I played. I played Votann, he played Dread Talons. I had like 3 or 4 battle shock units at one point. I got like a 96 at the end of the game. So, yeah. Battle shock ain't cool, folks. But this is what you got, unfortunately. So for certain armies, and I'm playing Votann, I'm leadership 7. I'm going up to leadership 8. Like, I'm just failing battle shocks all over the place, but again, like 40k is a game where things are usually dead or alive, kind of like the Schrodinger's cat. And when things are in that state, they're either not battle shocked or they're just dead. So, all right, this is interesting though, because it triggers if you just chip a unit, which is interesting for sure. Because you can just battle shock a whole bunch of stuff. It can be very impactful, and we're going to see how. Unfortunately, when it comes to these, most of them are restricted to targeting things that are battle shocked. So, yeah. But let's just get right to it and talk about the enhancements with the Nightmare Shroud first. So this is a 20-point thing. It's for Chaos Lords only, not Terminators. Models in the Bear's unit have stealth. For 20 points, -1 to hit permanently. I guess, fine. Willbreaker. Heretic Astartes model only in the fight phase after the Bear's unit has made attacks. Select one enemy unit that was hit by one or more of those attacks. Take a battle shock test at -1. Fine. How many points is Willbreaker? 10 points. For 10 points, yeah, it's fine. You're going to take this on like Raptors or something that can attach to Warp Talons. I don't know if anything can attach to Warp Talons, but I'm assuming a Chaos Lord with Jump Pack can attach to them. Next is your Warp-Fueled Thrusters. These are going to cost you a whole 20 points. The Chaos Lord with Jump Pack is the only one who can take it. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the Bear's unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, you can remove them from the battlefield, place them into strategic reserve. I think that's pretty good. Lets them jump around. So you can turn a relatively cheap unit into somewhat of a utility unit that's also somewhat threatening with the Chaos Lord and stuff in there. So kind of cool, Warp-fueled stuff. 20 points, so... All right, and then you got the Eater of Dread. Man, he just takes that dread, he eats it. It's 15 points. It's a Heretic Astartes model only. At the start of your command phase, if the bear is on the battlefield, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result for each battle-shocked enemy unit that is on the battlefield. You gain a CP on a 5+. Let's go over their strats. They got Deathless Cruelty. Battle Tactic strat for 1 CP in the fight phase. You target an infantry unit from your army that has not been selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that is battle shocked and or below half strength. Below half strength. Improve the armor penetration of that by 1. Right. So, which team wrote this one and which team wrote this one? Because clearly they don't talk to each other. Next is the bloody example for 1 CP Epic Deed. It's at the fight phase just after a Heretic Astartes unit from your army destroys a character. You target the Heretic Astartes unit. Each enemy unit within 12 inches and visible must take a battle shock test. Dude, so I charge you, right? Like, it's just so stupid. I charge you, I kill your character. Let's just say my entire army becomes battle shocked. Great, now it's my turn. They're not battle shocked anymore. I mean, unless they're under starting strength in this case and within 12 inches of you. But the rest of my army doesn't care. I guess in this case you would be within 12, so. But you'd have to be below starting strength, so yeah, great stratagem, I guess. Next you got the Pitless Hunter. Battle Tactics for 1 shooting phase, your shooting phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets the unit that is battle shocked or below half strength, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Okay. You got Relentless Terror next. That's a 1 CP. It's a strategic ploy. It's in your movement phase just after a Heretic Astartes unit from your army falls back. You target that unit until the end of the turn. Your unit is eligible to declare a charge in the turn in which it fell back. Okay. That's probably the best one so far. Then Screaming Descent, come down within 3 inches, you can't charge, and then the other effect is that you select one enemy infantry or mounted unit within 6 inches, invisible to the unit that made the deep strike, and you take a battle shock test on that enemy unit. So basically, you come down with a sister right here, she does a battle shock test to a unit within 6, and she can be placed within 3. She can't charge, and that's that. So that's pretty good, though, because this gets you secondary points very, very easily. And it makes them take a battle shock test, which they just get to then unbattle shock next turn. But that's pretty cool. Merciless Pursuit, strategic ploy for 1. This is going to be your last one. It's at the end of your opponent's movement phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, not within engagement range. Select one enemy unit that fell back this turn that is within 6 inches of your unit. Unit can declare charge as if it were your charge phase. When doing so, you can only select that enemy unit as the target of the charge and only if it's eligible. Note that even if this charge is successful, your unit does not receive a charge bonus. That's lame as fuck. Why not? Give me a charge bonus. All my strats are awful. So, yeah, about the Dread Talons. They're memes, like, right? Like, Nick loves the Dread Talons. Derek loves the Dread Talons. I don't think he actually likes them, but maybe he does. I don't know. But their rules are fucking terrible. Yeah, let's just start from the top. Have to be below half or battle shocked. Okay, take a battle shock test after I destroy your character. Reroll hits and wounds if you're battle shocked or below half. Like, what is this? Fall back and charge is fine. That's good. Come down within 3 is good. So far we have 2 good ones. Merciless Pursuit is annoying, for sure. So we got 3 good ones, I'd say. So this is especially good if you can wrap something that's, 6 inches or so. So if you get in there and wrap some stuff, they can't, like, get outside of 6 inches of you, basically. And so you just charge back in there, and they're still in combat. But in that case, it's kind of a non-bow, right? Because they're not going to then use the strat, I don't think. Or they're not going to fall back. So if they know you have it, unless they really need to be in a better position, maybe they'll draw you in and, like, kind of, like, do it on purpose, I guess would be the best way to do it. I don't know. But, yeah, when it comes to everything else, I mean, I don't like their detachment rule personally. Getting stealth for 20 points seems expensive, although that is 2 points a model, so it is worth it, I guess, if you're taking it on a 10-man. It's just like, ugh. Being able to jump off the battlefield, though, I really like that. And I could even see that on a big unit, because they could come down with 4 melty guns, lethal hits, sustained hits, or whatever, kill some stuff, be in like a good kind of hidden area. You could rapid ingress them as well if you really want to. Come up, kill something, be in a good spot at that point, be hiding. Yeah, and then jump them back off or something. Or take a small unit. That's not bad either. But then you're paying 4 points a model instead of 2. Getting CP on when you're battle shock and stuff, yeah, I guess, like, that's cool. So overall, underwhelming, and I don't like it. But if you do, great for you. That is great. Next, we have the Fellhammer Siege Host. These dudes have Iron Fortitude. Each time a ranged attack targets a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding damned, if the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughness, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So, something that we did wrong in our game was that my Votan boys, in our game with Derek, 40k Dirtbags, go check them out, we were doing -1 to wound, because I have Terminators that have a dude attached, but he was +1 to wound, and at the end of the game, we realized that they actually would have been +1 to wound because of them not being strength higher than me. So, the moral of the story is that getting +1 to wound counteracts this. Like, you can still be, like, wounding on 3s with stuff, or 2s potentially. Alright, so let's talk about their enhancements, because we got some. The first one is 10 points. It's Bastion's Plate. It's a Chaos Lord only, excluding jump packs. Once per battle round, when a saving throw is failed for the bearer's unit, you can change the damage to 0. Once per battle round, when a saving throw is failed for the bearer's unit. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the first one. It's just any one. You get to change it to 0. Awesome. Warp Tracer is 20 points. That's on a Heretic Astartes only. In your shooting phase, after the bearer has shot, select one enemy unit hit by those attacks until the end of the phase. They have ignores cover. Like, your stuff has ignores cover against them. So that's pretty good. Taking away cover is great. It basically gives all your weapons +1 AP, so you can think about it that way. But it's kind of I'd have to think about what you'd want to take this on, because most of the characters probably only have a 24-inch range. You'll have to think about the Warp Tracer, maybe good on a Demon Prince. Maybe just like a Chaos Terminator Lord that has, a gun that shoots 24 inches with a bunch of shots. Take away cover that way. Give everything else in your army +1 AP against that unit. Not bad. Ironbound Inimity, Heretic Astartes model only. Each time the bearer makes an attack while in range of an objective marker, add 1 to the wound roll. And that's pretty interesting with just a Chaos Lord. That's interesting with a Demon Prince for sure, because he's like Strength 10, I think, right? So then he's +1 to wound, as long as he's on an objective. That doesn't seem too bad. It's 15 points, so +1 to wound for 15 points doesn't seem terrible to me. Does not seem terrible to me at all. The only thing I don't like about it is that you have to be within range of that objective marker, so you can play around it, but for 15 points, you know, not bad. And then you have Iron Artifice. I think this is 10 points. It is indeed 10 points. Heretic Astartes infantry model only. The Bear's weapons have anti-vehicle 4+ and anti-fortification 4+. Put this on a Smash Captain with a Thunderhammer, because that's hilarious. He just blows a vehicle up. He'll do like 9 mortal wounds, or 9 dev wounds to a vehicle, probably. No, he'll do more than that, because he's getting reroll wounds. So he'll do like 12 to 15 dev wounds on a vehicle. Kind of seems silly. Alright, so let's go over our stratagems, because there's some to go over. Persistent Assailants. Battle Tactics, 1 CP fight phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of the attacks. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll, and if your unit is below half strength, you can reroll the wound roll. So if your unit is below half strength, you get reroll wounds. Otherwise, you just get reroll hits for 1 CP. Brutal Attrition, 1 CP for an epic deed. It's in the fight phase just after an enemy unit selects its target. You target a Heretic Astartes infantry unit, so, okay. That was the target of those attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a melee attack is allocated to your unit, after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks, roll 1d6 to the maximum of 6 per attacking unit. For each 4+, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Pitless Cannonade. This is a 1 CP battle tactics in your shooting phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that's below half strength, a successful unmodified hit roll of 5+ scores a critical hit. Targets a unit that's below half strength. You probably don't need it at that point, but that's interesting, I guess. So +1, yeah, you get critical hits on 5 then. Okay. All right, Point Blank Ambush. Point Blank Destruction. I think Point Blank Ambush is a Tau one. Point Blank Destruction, though, is a Fellhammer Siege Host one. It's a battle tactics as well for 1 CP in your shooting phase. Heretic Astartes unit from your army that is within engagement range of one or more enemy units and has not been selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, your unit's ranged weapons, excluding blasts, have pistol. Whoa, okay. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army. It's anything. It doesn't, okay. Yeah, so this could be a vehicle, which they can already shoot into combat, I guess, so non-vehicle is going to be better. So like Obliterators, Havocs, stuff like that likes to shoot a lot. That's pretty cool. All right, Steadfast Determination. Strategic Ploy, 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit selects its targets. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was the target of the attacks is the target, and then until the end of the phase, models in your unit have Feel No Pain 5+. How can you go wrong with Feel No Pain 5+? Like, that is awesome. So that's really good. This is pretty nice so far, and then the rest of these I'm not so sure. They're okay. I like this for sure. We'll get to that at the end. Let's just go with the last one here. Siegecraft. Strategic Ploy Strat, 1 CP. It's at the start of your opponent's charge phase. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army until the end of the phase. Each time an enemy unit selects your unit as the target of a charge, you subtract 2 from the charge roll. And it is not cumulative with any other negative modifiers. Okay. So, meh. These 2 are great. These 2 aren't great. These 2 are kind of meh. They're all, yeah. Fellhammer Siege Host, huh? Removing the benefits of cover, extra toughness here. The anti-vehicle 4+ is pretty nice with Iron Artifice, especially for 10 points, and anti-fortification because, you know, that's going to be relevant in every single game. Fellhammer Siege Host, not the strongest from what I'm looking at. This does make them much more durable, I guess, but it kind of reminds me of, like, other editions where you had, like, transhuman, but, like, not transhuman. It was, like, 1s and 2s always fail. Kind of reminds me of something like that because a lot of stuff's toughness 4, except for, like, Oblits and Terminators, which are viable units, but I'm just not sure. So, this is what you get. I don't think it's the best one, so let's just move on to the next one, which is your Pactbound Zealots. Ooh, this looks cool. So this has the Marks of Chaos detachment rule. When mustering your army, when you select a Heretic Astartes unit to include in your army, if that unit is not an epic hero and does not already have one of the following keywords, you must select one for that unit and note it on your army roster. Okay, got through it. Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Slaanesh, Chaos Undivided. Each time a unit with one of these keywords gains a weapon ability as a result of the Dark Pacts and does not fail the resulting leadership test until the end of the phase, that unit gains the associated ability. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is what you had before, right? So units that gained lethal hits, for Khorne, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack 5-ups or crits. For Tzeentch, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack 5-up or crits. For Chaos Undivided, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. For units that gain sustained hits 1, if you're Nurgle, you crit on 5s. If you're Slaanesh, you crit on 5s in combat. So for Nurgle, it's going to be shooting, and for Slaanesh, it's going to be combat. And then for Chaos Undivided, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. So these are the same. And the restriction is that you cannot select the Khorne keyword for a Psyker, and a character can only be attached to a unit if both have the same keyword from the list above. So that's what we get. Then we have our enhancements. The first one is your Talisman of Burning Blood for 15 points. It's on a Heretic Astartes Khorne model only. You add 1 to the attacks and strength of the bearer's melee weapons, and each time the bearer's unit makes a Dark Pact, if it does not fail, roll a d3 until the end of the phase. Add the result to the attacks and strength characteristics of the melee weapon instead. So Demon Prince is probably cool to have this on. A Chaos Lord might be cool to have this on. Jump Pack Lord, something like that. 15 points, right? That's what I said? Yeah, 15 points. The Eye of Tzeentch is 15 points as well. Heretic Astartes Tzeentch model only. Each time the bearer's unit makes a Dark Pact and does not fail the resulting leadership test. If the result was 8 or more, you gain a CP. Okay. Alright, fine. Orbs of Unlife, 15 points. Heretic Astartes Nurgle model only. At the end of the fight phase, roll a d6 for every enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer, adding 1 to the result if the bearer's unit made a Dark Pact and did not fail the test. On a 4+, the enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. And then Intoxicating Elixir for Slaanesh only. The bearer has Feel No Pain 5+. Each time the bearer shoots or fights, if the bearer's unit made a Dark Pact and did not fail, after the bearer has resolved those attacks, select 1 enemy unit hit by those attacks, take a battle shock test. Okay, so no thanks. They're all 15 points. This is what you had in your index. It's probably a little bit different with your strats here, but that's what you get for your enhancements. For your first strat, you got Eye of the Gods. It's an Epic Deed strat for 1 CP in the fight phase, just after a Heretic Astartes character unit from your army, excluding Damned, Demon, and Epic Hero, destroys an enemy unit. You target the character. Until the end of the battle, you add 1 to the move, the toughness, and the wounds characteristic of that character, and you add 1 to the attack, strength, and damage characteristic of that character's melee weapons. Wow. Okay, so this happens in the fight phase, just after a Heretic Astartes character unit from your army destroys an enemy unit. You target the character model in that unit. Okay, this is awesome. So this means my Chaos Lord with a Thunderhammer comes in there, totally minces a unit, and then just basically gains back his ability. He adds 1 to his strength and attacks and damage characteristic for his melee weapons. And then he gets +1 to his move, his toughness, and his wounds. Excuse me? Right. That's pretty cool. Eternal Hate's the next one, 1 CP. This is a strategic ploy. It's in the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its target. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if it has not fought, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result of its Khorne. On a 4+, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking model's unit finishes making its attacks, and then it's removed from play. Okay, so it's fights on death on 4-ups, unless you're Khorne, in which it's 3-ups. So it's 1 CP. That's what you get when it's when you roll for it. Profane Zeal is your next one. Battle Tactics. This is in your shooting or fight phase. That's 1 CP, yeah. Shooting or fight phase, Heretic Astartes Chaos Undivided unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. That's great. Re-rolling the wound is usually better than re-rolling the hit roll. Skin Shift, 1 CP, your command phase. Epic Deed, it's 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army. 1 model in your unit regains 3 lost wounds. In addition, if it's Tzeentch, below its starting strength, 1 destroyed model, excluding characters, is returned, with full wounds remaining. Next is Torpifying Refrain? Torpifying Refrain. 1 CP strategic ploy. It's in your movement phase. You target an Astartes unit from your army, Heretic Astartes unit. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn which it fell back. If your unit's Slaanesh, until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn which it advanced or fell back. So, cool. Great. Very, very all-comers type thing here. And then Festering Miasma is the last one. Strategic Ploy, 1 CP. This is in your opponent's shooting phase. Just after an enemy unit has selected its target, you target the unit that was the target of those attacks. And then until the end of the phase, your unit has the stealth ability. In addition, if it's Nurgle, it can only be selected as the target of ranged attacks if it's within 18 inches. So this is basically the same from the updated version that we saw in the balanced data slate. So that's pretty cool. Not actually, but this is pretty cool, I guess. Extra attacks and strength is pretty sweet. This is probably my favorite one, the Talisman of Burning Blood. Getting crits on 5-ups is really strong. Depending on how your army is built, this is going to be really, really nice to have. So cool. You got a lot of good strats here as well. I mean, this is hilarious for making the character just beefed out. Fights on Death is always good to have, unless, you know, you're not Khorne, in which case it's kind of a toss-up there. Rerolling wounds, just awesome. Skin Shift, regain wounds if you're a Tzeentch thing, so that's pretty sweet as well. Fallback Shoot Charge, or Advance and Charge, which is also great. And then, you know, basically 18-inch Lone Op, which is also pretty cool. So that's your Pactbound Zealots. Everything here is pretty cool. I don't really have any complaints. Is it better than the Renegade Raiders? I don't know, maybe. It might be. Getting crits on 5-ups is pretty good. So depending on the units and the data sheets and all that other stuff, the points cost, this might actually end up being a little bit stronger, possibly. It's definitely stronger than the Dread Talons. So our Chaos Cult is the next one for Desperate Devotion. Each time a damned unit from your army with the Dark Pact ability is selected to make a normal or advanced move or declare charge, excluding units that arrive from Deep Strike, it can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, until the end of the phase, you add 2 inches to the move characteristic of the models in that unit and 2 to the charge rolls. Desperate Pacts, each time a unit makes a Desperate Pact, it must first take a leadership test. If a test is failed, it suffers D3 mortal wounds before any effects of the Desperate Pact are resolved. Okay, so Traitor Guardsman units from your army have battle line. Great. Okay. Then we have some enhancements. For our Chaos Cult, this is going to be the Cultist brand, and that is a good old 20 points. And this is what it does. You target you put it on a Dark Apostle or damned model only. If every other model in the bearer's unit, excluding Dark Disciples, is damned, you can reroll the advance and charge rolls made for the bearer's unit. So if every model in the bearer's unit is damned, you can reroll advance and charge rolls. Okay, so you're going to put this with a Dark Apostle, they're going to put them with a Cursed Cultist, they're all going to be damned to hell, and you're going to be able to reroll your advance and charge rolls that are going to be +2. Sweet. Amulet of Tainted Vigor. Oh, what a name. 20 points. Dark Apostle only. In your command phase, you can return D3 destroyed damned models to the bearer's unit. Awesome. So you can bring back Torments with that. That's hilarious. Incendiary Goad is 15 points. Dark Apostle or damned only. While the bearer's unit is below starting strength, you add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by damned models in the unit. And while the unit is below half strength, add 1 to the attack characteristic as well. Okay. I definitely like these two a lot. Then you have the Warpforged Sight for 10 points, Dark Apostle and damned model only. The bearer's unit have scout 6 inches. Okay. You know, they probably should have just put it on their data sheets. Those are your enhancements. What can you do with this? You add 2 to your advance and charge rolls. Once we get to the data sheet section in part 2, we will see what's going on here, if there's any like good damned units that would be good in the Chaos Cult. Because I'm imagining that it's probably cultists, it's probably a cursed cultist, and maybe possessed. So, Chosen for Glory is your first stratagem. It's battle tactics for 1. It's in your shooting or fight phase. You target a damned unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. Your unit can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll, and if it did not fail the leadership test, you can reroll the wound roll. Oh, God. Okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good. As long as you're not failing that test, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Reroll hits and wounds on all those attacks, on all those torments. That will fuck some stuff up, for sure, especially if you're in the +1 to wound turn. Yeah, that'll do some damage. Selfless Demise, 1 CP, strategic ploy. It's in the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You target a damned unit from your army that was the target of the attacks until the attacking unit has resolved all of its attacks. Each time a model in your unit is destroyed, roll 1d6. On a 6, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound after all of the attacks have been resolved. Okay, sweet. So you just explode on them. So you do a couple mortal wounds to them there. Internal Sacrifice. Battle tactics for 1. Fight phase. You target a damned unit that was not selected to fight yet. Your unit can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, your unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, in addition to any suffered for failing the resulting leadership test. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attacked characteristic of the melee weapons equipped by models in your unit, and if your unit did not fail the resulting leadership test when making the Desperate Pact, until the end of the phase, improve the strength characteristic of these weapons by 1 as well. Okay, weird. So let's just assume that you don't fail it. You take D3 mortal wounds and a torment dies, but then the rest of them get +1 to the attacks and +1 strength. Okay. Interesting. Not bad, I guess. Just don't... I don't know. You could do 6 mortal wounds to your unit and just get +1 to your attacks. Like, I'm not sure about that. Crazed Focus for 1 CP battle tactics. Your shooting phase, you target a damned unit that has not been selected to shoot. Your unit can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack, improve the armor penetration by 1. If it did not fail it, improve the strength characteristic by 1 as well. So you could be +1 AP, +2 strength, and +1 attack on the entire unit for 2 CP. It's a lot of eggs in one basket. Interesting. Oh, okay. Reckless Haste. Strategic Ploy Stratagem. It's 1 CP in your charge phase. You target a damned unit until the end of the turn. Your unit is eligible to declare charge in a turn in which it advanced. Ooh, okay. So now you can have units of Accursed Cultist advancing and charging without having to pop their once per game advance and charge. That's pretty nice. Then you have Mortal Thralls, 1 CP, Strategic Ploy. It's in your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You target a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was the target of those attacks, and 1 friendly damned unit within 3 inches invisible to both your unit and the attacking unit. Until the end of the phase, while your damned unit is on the battlefield, each time your opponent would make a wound roll for that attack that targets your Heretic Astartes unit. If your damned unit is visible to the attacking model and is an eligible target for that attack, no roll is made. Instead, your damned unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of that attack. So they basically get Lookout Sir. So they jump in front of your Terminators or whatever, your Legionnaires with Abaddon. You're like, hey, what's going on, guys? That's hilarious. Okay, they just get completely annihilated, but that's funny. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I could see that having some pretty interesting plays. So Chaos Cult, very one-dimensional. It's going to be a bunch of Accursed Cultists and whatever else is damned. Regular Cultists and Accursed Cultists, probably with some like Predators in the backfield or some stuff like that. Something, you know, give them some shooting, because they do have a lot of combat throughout that point. And you're looking at like probably 1,000 points-ish if you wanted to like max 3 units of both, plus Dark Communes, some of these here. You're probably looking at like 1,000-ish points, I want to say. So, kind of interesting. I'd like to see what this can do, because Accursed Cultists can be really, really annoying. Alright, last one. Soul-Sucked Warpack. Soulforged Warpack. Your detachment rule is debt to the Soulforge. Each time a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle unit from your army makes a Dark Pact, it can invoke its contract. If it does, you subtract 1 from the resulting leadership test when making the Dark Pact. And until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, you add 1 to the wound roll. Automatically super duper good. Otherwise, you add 2 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit. So things like Venom Crawlers, Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, the big stupid corn thing that looks ridiculous with tracks and like big tanks on the back. He's a demon vehicle, I'm pretty sure. So he can get +1 to his wound roll, get +2 to his attacks. Cool. All right. So your enhancements. Invigorated Mechadendrils. Mechatendrils? Yeah, Invigorated Mechatendrils is 15 points, and it gives +4 to the bearer's move characteristic. So he's basically just keeping up with your vehicles at that point, which is nice to have. Tempting Addendum. Heretic Astartes model only. Each time a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle unit from your army invokes a contract while within 3 inches of the bearer, if it suffers 1 or more mortal wounds as a result of the Dark Pact, add 1 to the number of mortal wounds it suffers, and then until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. So now you're rerolling the hit roll, you're getting +1 to wound with like a Forge Fiend. So that's pretty cool. Venom Crawlers are going to love this, especially. Getting reroll hits and +1 to wound with all those shots. Yep, seems pretty good. The Tempting Addendum is going to cost you 25 points. I'm not surprised because it is pretty expensive, or it is pretty good. I'm not surprised that it's expensive. Really, really good. Forge's Blessing. This is 20 points, and it's on a Heretic Astartes model only. In your command phase, you select one other friendly Heretic Astartes vehicle unit within 12 inches of the bearer. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit has Fiona Pain 6+. Alright, so in your command phase, select a vehicle within 12 until the start of your next command phase. The unit has Fiona Pain 6+. Okay, fine, yeah, I like it. It's a nice little way to kind of keep your stuff alive for it taking damage. You're going to want to take like a Noctilith Crown or something in this that gives you +1 leadership within like 6 inches or 12 inches or whatever that does. That way you can counteract the -1 to your leadership test so that you can mitigate the amount of damage you're doing to yourself, and then just be getting reroll hits, +1 to wound all game long, and then +2 attacks. Pretty cool. Alright, so then we have Soul Harvester, Heretic Astartes model only, while the bear is on the battlefield. Each time an enemy unit within 12 inches of the bear is destroyed, roll a d6 on a 5+, you gain a CP. It's 15 points. It's probably fine for 15 points. While the bear is on the battlefield, each time an enemy unit within 12 inches is destroyed. So if you can get him real close and just kill a whole bunch of stuff, you get to roll multiple times that turn to get that CP. Good against MSU maybe. The 12-inch range is a little bit meh though. The next thing that we got here is going to be our stratagems, and that is going to wrap up part 1 of this very, very thick codex. Let's just go over it. Here we go. Desperate Pledge. This is a battle tactic stratagem for 1 CP. It's in your shooting or fight phase. You target a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight until the end of the phase. If your unit invokes a contract, each time it makes an attack, improve the armor penetration characteristic by 1. Ugh, so good. So that means that your Venom Crawler is now AP 2. With reroll hits and +1 to wound. This means that your, whatever the heck it's called, the Forge Fiend, that's going to be AP 4, 3 damage flat, dev wounds, rerolling hits, +1 to wound. Seems pretty good to me. Glout of Souls is your next one. Strategic Ploy Strat, 1 CP fight phase, 1 Heretic Astartes demon vehicle unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. Till the end of the phase, your unit, if it invokes the contract, each time it makes an attack that destroys an enemy model, roll a d6. On a 5+, your unit regains 1 lost wound after all of its attacks have been resolved. Okay, so this can start healing your own guys. Not going to happen very often. It's probably better in combat with like your Forge Fiend. It's got like 8 attacks or something. So you can roll like 8 dice there and get some dudes back, or get some wounds back that way. Demonic Possession is an epic deed for 1 CP. It's in your command phase. You target a Heretic Astartes vehicle, excluding demon units. Interesting. Okay, until the end of the battle, your unit gains the demon keyword. Ooh, cool. Okay, so you can pick up like a Land Raider and just be like, hey, you're now a demon vehicle that has reroll hits and +1 to wound. You're now a Vindicator. Or you're a Vindicator that now has reroll hits and +1 to wound. Okay, I like that a lot. Very, very nice. Unstoppable Rampage. This is in your movement phase or charge phase. You target, it's 1 CP, strategic ploy. Target a vehicle unit from your army that has not been selected to move or charge until the end of the phase. Each time your unit makes a normal, advance, or charge move, it can move horizontally through terrain features as if they were not there. What? Dude. Okay. Dude, yes. You become the Kool-Aid man with a fucking Mauler Fiend. But with +2 attacks and lethals are sustained with +1 to wound. Oh my god. You're just charging through. This is great. This is the best detachment. I've changed my mind. I didn't read this far. Wow. This actually may not be the best detachment, just because tons of vehicles is a little weird. Certain armies just kind of clear them out pretty quickly, but when they can do this much damage, you might see some success there. I mean, Iron Storm, that was winning events, so that's a lot of vehicles as well, so I like it. That's hilarious. Predatory Pursuit's next. It's 1 CP, strategic ploy. It's in your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move. You target a Heretic Astartes vehicle unit from your army that's within 9, so notably, it doesn't have to be a demon vehicle like this one does, or like this one does. So just any vehicle from your army that's within 9 inches of that enemy unit and not within engagement range. Your unit can make a normal move up to 6, but it must end as close as possible to that enemy unit. That I don't like. It's fine, it's good. I take that back, it's great. It's just that I don't like having to be forced to go a certain direction. So in the right circumstances though, this could be pretty good. This could really throw your opponent off, because now they have a second threat in front of them that they weren't expecting. You kind of like bait them. It's like, well, which one do you want to deal with now? Do you want to deal with the one you cared about, or do you want to deal with the Mauler Fiend that's going to charge you next? Interesting, for sure. Last one is Feeding Frenzy. This is a strategic ploy. It's 1 CP. Your opponent's movement phase. When an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, is selected to fall back, you target a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle that is within engagement range of the enemy unit until the end of the phase. Each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, that is within engagement range of your unit falls back, all models in that unit must take a desperate escape. When doing so, subtract 1 from the test. So, I love it. The only thing that sucks about strats like this is that your opponent just won't fall back if they know that it's there. They're not just going to give you free models unless they like absolutely 100% need that unit out of combat for some reason. And then in the case where they die, it's like, well, they're still out of combat. So great up until the point where you don't actually use it very much, I think. So this is great though. Wow. +1 AP is great to have. Regain wounds, nice to have. Make something of demons that it just gets this other stuff. Move through walls, like, yes, give this to me in every detachment, please. Actually, just make this part of the core rules. Predatory Pursuit, being able to reactive moves, cool, but you have to move toward the opponent, which is fine, but whatever. And then you have the last one here for Feeding Frenzy, for the thing to try to make people die when they fall back. Overall, you got really good. This is 25 points, I think I said. Tempting Addendum. Yep, 25 points for that. That's awesome. Adding 4 inches to the bear's move, 15 points, pretty good there. So that right there is 40 points. You might even take Forge's Blessing, right? That's not terrible. It's 20 points as well. You just pick a vehicle. Depending on how expensive the vehicle is, like, it's any vehicle. It doesn't have to be a demon vehicle. So if you do have a Land Raider or something, that effectively gives it like 3.5 extra wounds. No, because it doesn't have 18 wounds. It has less. It gives it like 3 wounds extra, which is pretty cool. And you can use it on multiple vehicles, so just make them a little bit harder to kill, which is pretty nice. And this is usually pretty bad, but when it does spike, when you roll like 6 dice, you make 3 of them, you're like, okay, well, that seems like it was worth it. So, yeah, okay. I really like the Soulforged Warpack. You're probably only going to get like, so, well, Venom Crawlers are 110 points, so that's not bad. The Mauler Fiend's 130. Okay, so you're at like 700 points there. That's not that bad. That is not bad. Vashdor is like 190. We're going to get to the data sheets next, so be sure to hit the subscribe button, smash it with a Thunder Hammer, or a Demon Hammer in this case, corrupt the like button, give Nurgle's bell icon the blessing, like do all that stuff, leave us a comment, check out our other videos as well. We've got Codex reviews, Tacticas, some battle reports, and as time passes, you're going to see all this stuff improve. You're going to see models actually get painted. You're going to see just better quality overall as things go on. So make sure you hit all the buttons, pray to your chaos god of choice, and I will see you guys in part 2.